Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Heart Next Door podcast. If you are here, you are home. And as you know, in this season, we are diving deep into the beauty, the challenges, the pain, and everything between when it comes to maternal health and family wellness. And today's guest is truly a gift. She is a light. She's such a beautiful spirit, and I'm so happy and thankful that she's chosen to share space with us today. Today's guest is Ashley Burton Mims. Welcome.
Thank you.
So for those of you who do not know, Ashley Burton Mims is the founder and CEO of Emerald and Rose Consulting, a leadership and wellness consultancy dedicated to helping people burn bright and not out. After experiencing her own corporate burnout while managing $1 billion businesses at Fortune 500 companies, Ashley transformed her journey into a mission, equipping leaders, organizations, and communities with tools to prevent burnout and build culture rooted in rest, intention, and sustainable success. As a mom, entrepreneur, and speaker, Ashley integrates compassion, purpose, and practicality into her work, supporting women and gender-expansive people of color in navigating unique challenges with dignity and joy. She is the creator of the BRIGHT framework, which is an acronym that stands for Boundaries, Rest, Intention, Grace, Honesty, and Tribe, which I love so much. And she was recently featured in Forbes' editor's pick for her insights on banishing burnout with intention. Through coaching, consultancy, and her signature Burn Bright sessions, Ashley is reimagining how leaders and communities approach wellness, making rest a strategy, not an afterthought, and showing that sustainable success comes from alignment, not exhaustion. Welcome to the Heart Next Door,
Thank
Ashley.
You.
Wow.
It's interesting to hear about myself. Like, yeah, I guess I do all those
Listen,
things.
girl, you are everything and more. And I feel like this isn't our first time meeting, which is just so thankful for the way that we met. And even now knowing you, I feel like it's been like maybe a couple of months since we first met at an event at Monica's Talk It Out, Walk It Out event, which is amazing. You're hosting a session. And ever since then, even though we've only interacted a couple of times, but most recently, I'm so thankful for you for helping step in when I needed care for my little ones. You're such a haven and such a great resource for us. So I say all that to say that even this bio doesn't fully encompass everything that you are. So
thank you.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us. So to start, I just want to dive into the beginning. First, I love the name of your company, Emerald and Rose Consulting.
Yes.
So beautiful. So just tell us the beginning. How did Emerald Rose Consulting come to life?
Ooh, such a good question. So I don't know if you ever watched the Golden Girls, but it's like, picture it.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, so around this time in 2023, I was sick, like just very unwell. I was inflamed so much I could barely walk, like my hips were locked up. I was having panic attacks. I wasn't sleeping very well, and I just felt really sick. And I wasn't being really honest with myself about what was going on and what I was struggling with. And I just kept showing up like, hey, everybody, I'm fine. But the people around me definitely started to notice like, something's off. And at the time I was doing a fellowship with an organization in Columbus called Sora's House. And one of the ladies was like, hey, sis, you can take a leave of absence from work. And I think that you should. And I was like,
Wow.
No, but also like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like I was going through a breakup. Work was super toxic. And I was like, this isn't even a good time to take off work. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
And fast forward maybe about October of that year, I just couldn't do it anymore. Like my body was like, yeah, so that leave of absence sounds really good. And I remember being at my bestie's. She lives in New York. And we were watching a football game, and it was like Lincoln Financial Field. And right before the trip, I was like looking into, what's this leave of absence? What's that?
Yeah.
And the leave of absence company is named Lincoln Financial.
What?
So I was like, this is a sign.
Wow. Yes.
So even on that trip, I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to take this time. And even then I was like, well, take the time. And as you know, as a mom and just as a woman in general, I was like, what do we really need? A surplus of is time. And I'm like, oh, I'll just take the time off and like organize my house and update my resume and like, you know, just do the things that I don't really have time to do.
Yeah.
And maybe like 5 days into my leave, I had a complete breakdown.
Wow.
And my body was like, yeah, so the leave is for healing. It's not for being even more productive than you were before. So that was the catalyst of getting started. I was just like, I needed this type of work and this type of support before I had a whole breakdown. I needed some community. I needed someone to name like, this is what you're going through and this is how you heal from it and this is also how you combat it, so you're not getting to the place where you're just completely debilitated. And the name came from my birthstone, and my grandma's birthstone is Emerald, and Rose is my daughter's middle name. Aww. And so fun fact, like I knew I wanted to start a business, but definitely couldn't start it when I was on my leave. I was like, oh, this is too much. But I was ideating with a friend maybe like a month or so after I'd gone back to work. And I was like, hey, like, I think I should start a business now because I got that freedom of like the autonomy of my time and my schedule and just being able to not have to go to work and focus on my healing at the same time. I was like, but I can't start a business because it doesn't have a name. And so looking back now, like how I was like almost like debilitated. I'm like, I can't do anything until this thing has a name. So just being able to ideate and sit down and we did like a tarot card spread and everything and got very intentional and took the time to say like what could come out of this. So that's a little bit of the background.
That is so beautiful. Wow. And there were so many of what you shared, so much of what you shared really resonated with me. And I feel like will resonate with so many other people, especially when you talk about the burnout and just how even though you were overwhelmed, you were telling yourself and everybody else, no, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, putting a smile on. And I just think about how many times we do that.
Oh, yeah.
And then even more beyond that, like, why? Why do we do that?
There's definitely a reason.
Why? Please tell us.
But there's a thing that I realized in my healing is that we weren't alone in that, but we suffer in silence in that. Because we think, especially as Black women, that that's what we're supposed to do. So there's two research-backed like phenomenon. So one is the Superwoman schema. So you know, we're wearing our cape, we're proud, we're supposed to endure, we're supposed to go through those things, and that's a systemic barrier that has, you know, predates you and I. There's a really beautiful quote that I bring up in some of my workshops, and it's just about like, I've never experienced or seen a relaxed woman in my mom or my grandma or any of the maternal people in my life. So I didn't even have this mirrored for me. So how would I know how to do that differently? But I love the poem. It's I guess like a poem, and it ends with like, but I want to become her. And so that's really inspired me. And then there's another phenomenon called weathering. And so that's actually the toll that burnout, it's beyond burnout for Black women especially, that it takes on our physical and our mental and emotional health. So we're talking about enduring things that we're not, our body physically is not supposed to endure, but because there are all these systems in place, we think that it's okay. And when we stop and we're intentional and really get into community, like you just said, you were like, that resonates with me.
For sure.
I don't even know how many times I burned out before actually making a big change. It's just something I went through and I endured and came out kind of on the other side. But in this season, it's like, oh, how can I prevent that? And like, what are some of the things that I need to make sure that I have in place so that I don't burn out again?
Yeah. Wow, that's really good. And not even just thinking from like, I know that your background is in corporate, but you're also a mom. So there's two different, right? Those are two different levels of burnout that can happen, right?
Yes.
Like motherhood, you can face a lot of burnout too, which is again why I can't overstate how thankful I am for you, because I felt myself also having getting trapped into the the trend of saying no, I'm okay, I got it, especially with two kids, it's a lot, but you just do it every day because you have to, right? And so just so thankful again to you for stepping in that way. And it just makes me think about another beautiful thing that you shared was just the fact that like the name came from your grandma's name and also your daughter's name. And so what that made me think of it originally, like right off the bat, is just how much healing you're doing. That's like intergenerational. You're like breaking that curse,
Exactly. This is a legacy that I want to build for my daughter and for whoever comes after me. But also recognizing that my grandma didn't have the opportunity to show up in this way. My grandma picked or worked in factories and did tobacco like in rural Virginia, right?
Wow.
So like very backbreaking work.
Yeah.
And didn't have the means even to say like I need to take a break, I need to rest.
Yeah.
So this also like honors her in such a big, beautiful way.
Definitely. And you shared something too just about how like you got into this phase where for me I feel like it's like this almost this perfectionist obsession, like you felt like you couldn't move forward until you had a name for the company. And I just think about like some of those myths or misconceptions that we have, that everything has to be perfect. And especially when it comes to burnout and your expertise, like what are some of the most common myths that or misconceptions that you feel like people have when it comes to burnout and just like burnout culture?
Oh, so many. So the number one that I've noticed and through my research is that like it's only happening to me, or that I'm supposed to endure or I'm supposed to go through this because the societal norm would say like hustle hard.
Yeah.
Like if you're, you sleep when you die, or if you're not being productive, then you're lazy.
Yeah.
That is so not true. It's so beyond that, like especially as Black women and women of color, we actually don't get the luxury of being lazy. We need to reset and recharge because there are so many systemic barriers that we endure just as soon as we wake up in the morning, even in our sleep. So like that's one of the things that I really want to debunk about burnout, is that it's a personal failure versus like a systemic issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, I love that. And so in your work, I know specifically you mentioned that you love working with, women and like gender expansive people. What approach do you take? Like if somebody, let's say somebody comes to you and say, Ashley, I need help. where do you begin to start? Like what does that journey look like as you walk them through it?
Oh, I love that. Well, definitely affirming and naming what it is and reassuring them that it's important to be in community during this time, because it's really easy to isolate.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, even for me, there's like an embarrassment of like, I'm not succeeding. And how come this person seems to have it all and this person's working so hard, but it's really a struggle for me. So really validating their experience is number one. Number 1, 2, 3. All the things, but really validating it, but also coming from a lens of a Black woman, a mom, someone who is in corporate America, someone who still is very heart-centered, right, and a very compassionate person, but like where does that exist in the rat race of life? So really helping them name that, and then understanding what their goals are. Some folks, they just want something that is outside of the scope of being a mom, being an employee. Like where is my joy? Where does that live? Like I've gotten so far away from that. Some folks, it's I just need a reset. And what does that look like? For some people, it's I really need help and I don't know how to ask for help, and nobody actually will help me because I've been disappointed before. So helping them understand like, well, we definitely can ask for help, but sometimes we're asking people who don't have the capacity to help us, especially our family members. So sometimes it may come like a lot of folks have said this. Well, my mom just said like, well, I had to do it.
Yeah.
So why can't you do it?
Yeah.
And then it's full stop. Like I'm not going to ask anybody else. But a lot of times our family members aren't the people we need to ask. We need to be a community and a community that understands what our needs are. But a lot of times we're dealing with that intergenerational of, well, I did it. Why are you having a hard time? And that's where in that bright framework, that honesty is so important.
Yeah.
It's so important to be honest about what you have gone through or what you're experiencing, and also just meeting people where they are and understanding like, okay, I still need help, but I need to ask for help from my tribe, and building that tribe.
I love that, Ashley. And so you have to break down the bright framework to us. Specifically, the first one that stood out to me is boundaries.
Oh, yes.
Because that is one that even still, I'm just evolving and learning to grow in that. But I love what you shared, like just giving people permission to say, like, you don't have to just look to your family or the people that are closest to you. You choose, like, you build your tribe. You choose what your village looks like, and that's how, you build it. And so I love the BRIGHT framework, even just the acronym. So, like, tell us more about that. Like, how is that a part of your work, too?
Okay, so anything that we do, so if we're doing a training, a workshop, a podcast, has to be in alignment with the BRIGHT framework. So that is more aligned to, like, our mission and our values. So boundaries is probably the one that I struggle with the most. When it shows up, I'm like, dang, Ashley, you're doing it again. Like, and I think it's the hardest one, but we have to have healthy boundaries in order to not burn out.
Yeah.
So, for example, I just came back from vacation.
Yes.
And I reflected on how I showed up, and I was like, ooh, my healthy boundaries are not great. Because I was like waiting around to make sure, like, oh, did this person get their needs met? And like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm hungry. But I've waited around for you to get dressed, to go to the pool. Like, how could I have just said, like, hey, I'm hungry, I'm gonna go eat. I'll meet you, wherever. But that's a great example of like where a lot of times that people pleasing will come out, and we then kind of derail from our healthy boundaries. But hey, I recognized it, and I can make a change on this next trip I'm going on. So rest is the R. So that there are actually 7 different types of rest, which I can't get into all of them today.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
But Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith goes over what, so listeners can look it up. I also have a rest guide that I can share with folks as well. But it breaks down the different types of rest. That one was super important to me because I remember people saying like, well, you just need to rest. And I'm like, I don't take naps. What's that? Like, when I lay down, my brain is not able to turn off enough to be restful enough to take a nap. And then I'm super anxious and I never actually take a nap. Well, then I didn't need to start my rest practice at naps. Yeah. But could my rest practice look like going for a walk? Doing one of my favorite ones is like a little kitchen dance party. Like, it's something that's just for me, but really restores me. And so there are just these different types of rest. Another really good one is kind of recognizing energy vampires in our lives.
Energy vampires. Whoa, you gotta define that.
So think of like an interaction that you've had with someone, could be family members, oftentimes are, that's just draining. And so how do I really protect my peace and take a little break from them? So there are 7 different types of rest. We can definitely learn more about them. I do not have the
we'll link
time to, but definitely look it up, and we can talk more about that another time. The I is intention. So being intentional, which I think was one that I had to name for myself about how I actually show up and how I can be able to set healthy boundaries and prioritize rest. I have to be intentional. So intentionality, I think, is underutilized word at times, but like being intentional about what that looks like for you. Grace. giving grace to ourselves. I know I give a lot of grace to other folks, and then it's like I'm super hard on myself. So really extending grace to yourself the way that you would to others, wherever you are. Yeah, honesty. So we talked about that a little bit more, but really being honest about what's going on. I was not being honest about what was going on in my life. I was just like, everything's fine, everybody's fine. Like, why are you concerned? And that is such a detriment to us all when we're not really being honest about what's going on, because it makes it hard for people to support and help us. And then tribe, which I wanted to name community, but bright sounds so cool. Yes, but tribe is our community. So that's our chosen family. Those are the people that we ask for help. Those are the people that we need the most, because burnout thrives in isolation. And we can start to tell ourselves a story and it really go unchecked. I'll tell a very quick story here about that 5th day that I talked about earlier when I had a whole breakdown. So I took the leave of absence. Me being me, I was like, I've submitted all my paperwork and I've done all this stuff and like, this should be fine. And I got a call like, oh, this isn't the right documentation and your therapist needs to send us like something else. Well, my therapist had an unexpected death in the family.
Oh no.
And so I was like, but she can't. And I like literally like cried and it was like in the fetal position, and I just was like, I'm never going to be able to get a break because
the spiral, the spiral.
And so I picked my daughter up from school. We were supposed to go to an event. It was an election day that day, and there was like this respite for folks after this election. And I picked her up and I was like, so we're just going to go home because mommy's really sad and I need to cry. And she was like, why? Like, you need to see your friends. And I was like, but they can't see me like this. And she's like, no, mommy, like this is, we should go. And I want to go. And I was like, okay. So we go, and literally I pull up and I'm like, okay, I gotta put on a brave face. And I get out the car and I see my friends and I just collapse in their arms and fall apart. And I wept and it was held, and somebody took her. I don't know. She was gone, so I could have like this time. But like, that's what I mean by tribe. Like, I was so blessed that I already had those folks in my life. So when I needed to fall apart, they were there.
Wow. That is powerful.
Thank you.
That is so powerful. And that makes me, reflect a lot. Because that is so true, what you say about it just being able to thrive in isolation.
Oh, yeah.
And just the importance of knowing that you have a safe space and a safe community where people can still hold you, because that is a part of us and our healing, connection. So I love that. I love that so much. And so as a mom and in like your own journey, when you think about your own ways of like personally practicing balance and like protecting your own well-being, do you just implement that in your own life, or do you have like other secrets or tools that you implement? Both.
So this one is probably the one that I worked on the most diligently, is protecting my time. So I'm not sure if it's even considered like a balance at this point. Like, it's back to that intentionality. Like, it's just part of my day now. But you got to start somewhere, right? So I was a single mom for a good amount of my daughter's life. She's 12 now. And I would get up, get her ready, go to work. Like, I never took any time in between these activities. Pick her up, come home, make dinner, put her to bed, and then it was like, now it's finally my time. And I did not play about my time. I was like, listen, you guys go to bed. Love you, night. I don't want to see you until tomorrow.
No, I get it.
But like, I was putting myself last though in that model, right? Like, I've given myself to work, I've given myself to her in the world at large, and then I made time for myself. And that really was a wake-up call for me when I went on leave of absence. Like, I'd go take her to school and then I'd have this time. And I'm like, oh, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Like, this is cool. So now it looks like I still have to get up and take my kids to school. But one thing that I didn't mention is, like, I would get up and start my day, but like I'd be dressed and everything.
Wow.
Even when I was working from home. Like,
wow.
I technically could have taken her to school, relaxed a little bit, gotten dressed. I do that now. But no, I was getting dressed and like go.
Wow.
So now it's like they're a little bit older, yes, so they can dress themselves, and I'm like, let's go, get in the car. You better be ready to go when the car, leaves. But like I did not have this on when I took them to school this morning. I had on whatever I slept in. I rolled out of bed, crusty and everything. So I was joking, like, listen, if you saw me this morning, like, just avert your gaze. Like, mind your business. Like, I'm taking care of myself first.
Yeah.
So I don't meet with anyone before 10 a.m. I've actually kind of moved it to 11. But that's something that I really recognize that I need to prioritize myself. So yes, I do still have to do stuff for them in the morning, but you're not, unless I really, really love you to pieces, like we're not interacting before 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. And that's just to protect my peace and make sure that I'm always carving out time for myself. So some of the things that I do, I might make myself a healthy breakfast. I might lay back down. I may listen to a podcast or a book. It doesn't really, what am I trying to say? Whatever it is for me.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm doing in that time is for myself.
Yeah.
So it could look different for everyone, but just making sure you're carving out that time that's just for you, because nobody can take that away.
And doing it first, not as an afterthought.
Not as an afterthought.
Not at the end of the day.
Yes.
Ooh, that is so powerful. And I think a big lesson too in that is just, especially as someone who I call myself a recovering perfectionist. Listen, like, I love the fact that you drop off your daughter to school in exactly the way that you got out of bed in the morning and don't care, you know?
It was a big adjustment,
right?
Oh my God, yes. Speaking of my grandma, she always looked amazing.
Yeah.
Like, she passed away now, but like, so she can't say anything to me, but wig laid, nails done, like always looked good. And so I really looked up to her that, where like I could not go outside not looking presentable. Yes.
As a Southern girl, that definitely
that was not a thing.
Not a thing at all.
And now I'm like, oh, but there's a lot of history behind that too, of us having to present a certain way and us having to show up a certain way for our own safety. But that doesn't apply right now. Like, I'm driving down, I don't know, the Lodge, you know, I was like, what is that street name? But driving down the Lodge to take my kids to school and literally being like, love you, bye, tuck and roll, like, you know, like, you're fine. Yeah. But we have to stop to think about the why too, of why we were doing those things, and does that still apply today?
Wow, that reminds me of this story that I heard. I think like at one of my old churches, the pastor told it about like how his mom used to always cut the turkey or something in half for Thanksgiving before she put it in the oven, and he would ask one day, he was like, why do you do that? And she was like, oh, because that's the way that my grandma did it, and that's the way that it's always been done. Come to find out that they would always cut it in half because they had smaller ovens, they didn't have any space, right? And so just going back to your point, right, like we just do things sometimes, but it's always important to look back and like realize the why behind it. So I love that you brought that up, because that's not something that we do.
And it makes sense, right? Like, we can, and we didn't really talk about this at all, but like, we can also be on autopilot at certain things because it's comfortable. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's serving our highest good. We are just going because that's what we're used to doing.
And that people pleasing element too, I feel like that plays a big part of it. And I think especially after I had my son, my first child, I went through a really hard postpartum season.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It was just so hard, and I feel like, because you know this too, as a mom, you get to a point where the people's opinions that you cared so highly about, like you don't even have the energy anymore
Correct.
to like, right? Like you're just trying to like stay
Survive,
alive and stay awake
and keep the baby
keep
alive.
the baby
Yes.
alive, right? And so that was so hard for me, and journaling is so therapeutic for me. So I remember I started going to therapy and like journaling, and I just had this biggest revelation that just like I cared more about other people's opinions than I cared of my own.
Preach.
And that was painful for me, you know? Like, and I had to apologize to myself. I'm sorry. That's like self-betrayal to put other people before you in that way. And so I love that. That could literally like bring me to tears, because I feel like that is liberating when you see that you're the most important. And especially as moms, if we don't take care of ourselves first,
that hurt.
Right?
That part. If we don't take care of ourselves, who is?
Yeah.
And then we're not creating a good example, especially for our young ladies and our sons too, of how to support the women in their lives and how to make sure that you're someone who is elevating and reminding the folks in your life to take care of themselves and to prioritize themselves. Because we can get into I love that we're so alike in the people pleasing. Because like part of it feels good at the time, but when we don't reflect on how it actually makes us feel, it doesn't feel great. Because it is a betrayal. It is such a big betrayal of self.
Exactly. And even to your point about, you know, sharing your burnout story and how your body got to the point where it physically couldn't take it anymore. Your body will tell you, you know?
Listen.
And I also, has this ever happened to you, Ashley? I feel like our body gives us nudges along the way, but we just ignore them, and then they build up.
They build up, and through like my healing and through my research and understanding more about how our bodies show up and to give us the warning signs, I think about all the times where shoulder was hurting, my back was hurting, I'm going to the doctor, and they're like, everything's fine, and I'm like, no, it's not. I can't. I got to a point I couldn't like move, and I don't know if you've ever had a shoulder injury.
No,
but
I haven't.
It affects your whole body. Like you can move this way, and it's like, ow, everything hurts. And being, you know, in my 20s, you know, then it's like, oh, we don't understand why that's happening. I'm just like, oh, but I get it now. Like, I was putting so much pressure on myself and so much pressure thinking about and caring so much about what the world thought of me, the societal norms and expectations, that I was betraying myself and my body. And my body was like, hey, actually, we're trying to give you all the warning signs that like something is off and something's wrong.
Yes. It's so true. Okay, so what role, in your opinion, do compassion and purpose play into building resilience?
Oh my goodness, I love this question so much. So I'll start with purpose because I don't know. I know in my life how much we actually get to spend time understanding our purpose and working towards it in a supportive way. I know that we grow up in this society of like, you got to get the bag and you have to be independent
hustle culture,
and hustle, right? But like that can be in such misalignment with your purpose. I will talk about my own self where I don't know how many folks have said to me like, oh my gosh, I feel so seen and heard by you. Are you a therapist? Have you been a therapist? And I'm like, no, I analyze data and business trends and make recommendations. But I also wore like a lot of hats that aligned with my purpose. I just didn't realize it. Even as a leader and as a manager, I knew that I showed up differently. I knew I showed up with compassion. I knew I showed up with patience and kindness. And that was very different from my peers. But that was also very much who I am and values alignment. But I didn't understand, like, I wasn't operating in my gifts and my purpose in that way fully versus how I am now. So there's a big, I think, like, push and pull in our life where there's, like, all these signs that are, like, pointing us towards our purpose. But our culture doesn't allow us to fully say, like, I can live in my purpose and I can operate in my gifts. I know, like, for folks, I think you grew up in church too. Like, I think it was like The Purpose Driven Life, or like one of those books. So I feel like in some settings they talk about it, but that's still more like using your gifts to serve God, right?
Yeah.
Versus like in our all aspects of our life, even in the way that we make money. So I think there's such a beautiful unlock for me to understand like I can operate in my purpose and still like be in a capitalistic society, which also covers me,
right? Yes,
way. But I can use my gifts for good and to really like push up against some of the societal norms and the systemic issues and barriers that we go up against.
Yeah, and I asked that question because I just see how hearing your own story and the way it evolved into a business and a purpose, right? It's like you went through all of that and had to give yourself compassion, right? To learn how to coach people, how to give their own selves compassion, right? But it's also a part of what makes us all resilient, right? When we learn those lessons that are interwoven into your company and your mission, and I think that's just so beautiful. And so as we come to a close, there's a couple of more questions. Ashley, I've enjoyed this time with you so much.
Yay.
Always enjoy our time together and your energy. So what's one small actionable practice that our listeners could start with today to move towards burning bright and not out?
Oh, yay. I love this. So some of it we talked about a little bit in the first workshop.
Yes, which I love.
Yes.
I remember my favorite part of the workshop was blowing bubbles.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. But start with 15 minutes. So we have to start small. We just have to if we want it to be a sustainable practice. So my 10 a.m. Part of my day didn't start with like, oh, I came home and I figured this out. Like, no, I was very like this feels weird and almost like such a big like undertaking. Like, how could I even get to that place? So let's make sure we're starting small and sustainable. So where can you prioritize 15 minutes in your day that's just for yourself? If we start to talk about the 7 types of rest, I think that's a great place to start. Like, how can you incorporate one of those types into 15 minutes? So that could be, I don't know if the viewers can see, there's a beautiful view right behind us. But if I sat up here and looked out this window for 15 minutes, honestly, at first, our nervous system sometimes are so out of whack that it would feel like so uncomfortable. You're like, I'm wasting time. Yes. But keep going, push through that. Because there's such beauty on the other side where it will be like such a big part of your day that you look forward to. And that's what's, I read this book recently and he was saying that the author was saying, his dad was saying, the key to happiness in life is to always have something to look forward to. And I couldn't agree more. So let's have those 15 minutes to look forward to. Let's start there and then start to build upon that. Go for a walk. Watch the sunset or rise if you're a morning or evening person. Listen to a quick podcast like this podcast. More than 15 minutes, but hey, we can break that up over a series of days. But really just start with 15 minutes just because it's an easy entry into building upon something that could be really sustainable.
For sure. I love that because I feel like some people often feel like, even I've heard one of my personal favorite forms of self-care is like meditation. And I've heard so many people say, and I feel like I was guilty of this initially, like, oh, that seems so hard. I can't imagine myself like meditating for an hour. What am I going to do? It's overwhelming, blah, blah, blah. But just like what you said, like thinking about it from taking a 15 minutes, like just 15 minutes, start there and building upon that, I think it makes it seem so much more attainable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let me clarify. We're scheduling this 15 minutes just like you would a really important business meeting. So I know when most of us look at our calendar for the day, we see we have however many meetings, and we make sure we go to those meetings and we prioritize and we're prepared. So I expect the same for this 15 minutes of your day for it to be a non-negotiable, just like you would at work meeting.
Yeah. I love that. So true. Okay. So when you envision the future of workplaces and communities, prioritizing mental and emotional health, what does that look like to you?
Oh my gosh. I was just talking to one of my mentors today about this, where we're up against like such systemic barriers that it feels like there's so many layers to it that we're undertaking. But the biggest thing I want is for leaders to have more emotional intelligence. And that starts with like recognizing that I'm a human being, you're a human being, none of us are machines.
Yeah.
I know we're using chat a lot more, but
Right.
hey, that's different. But really recognizing that we're all human beings and leading with emotional intelligence. So that BRIGHT framework is built for that reason. None of those things are tied to our productivity. None of those things are tied to working while we're supposed to be on PTO, working long hours of the night and expecting people to go, having this false sense of urgency. So we're trying to combat all of those things. So like those are the things that I don't want to see.
Yes, none of us.
Right. So, but we've all experienced it in some way, shape, or form, and even accepted that that's how it has to be. And it really doesn't. I'm still extremely productive and I still get a lot done. But I also rest. I don't take breaks. I'm really honest with myself when I've overexerted myself. I ask for help. I delegate things. So that's what I really would love for it to look like. And also just creating more safe spaces for people to bring their authentic selves to work, which can be really difficult, especially as a Black woman in settings that you may be the lonely only. I know for me, stepping outside of the corporate world, I'm like, man, I very rarely was showing up as my authentic self. And I was tokenized. I was code switching. I was dealing with micro and macroaggressions. And all of that took such a big toll on my nervous system. Even to the point where like now I'm very intentional about who I'm meeting with, who I'm in alignment with, because I'm like, I don't want to feel like that ever again. So how do we create those spaces for everyone to show up as their authentic self to work?
Wow. Well, the beautiful thing is that you are doing all of that and more through Emerald and Rose Consulting, and it's such a beautiful thing because it's such a necessary thing. I know firsthand, and so many other, like literally everyone that I know, I'm sure can relate to all of that too. And so I'm just so thankful for everything that you do. So thankful for your platform. And I know that you have gems. We've only scratched the surface. You have so much to offer people. Yes. And you have to tell us too, before we leave, tell them how they can connect with you. If there's anything exciting that you're looking forward to upcoming with Emerald Rose that you'd like to promote, please let us know.
Okay. So one, for those of us who are on LinkedIn, I'm Ashley Burton Mims. One of one. So it's very easy to find me on there. On Instagram, it's burn.bright.out. So Burn Bright Night Out is our tagline. So it should be easy to find us on Instagram. That's where we're most active. Our website is emeraldandrose.com. You can sign up for our email on there and book one-on-one coaching and consultations on there as well. And then we have a really cool series coming up. I'm very excited about this series. It's called the Hibernation Series. I haven't thought of like a catchier name, but I think Hibernation Series sounds good. So it's about how to stay connected in community when we go into this season that a lot of us dread, especially if we've experienced seasonal depression, which I have, and thankfully have incorporated a lot of tools to combat that. But I still, it's a struggle.
It is.
Looking forward to not experiencing it. But there is a book called How to Winter, and it inspired this series. So we'll kick it off with a book club. I think I've only recommended. No, I haven't recommended any books in this podcast. It's just so not on brand for me. I'm always recommending books. All right, so How to Winter is one of the books that inspired this hibernation series. So she talks about like how happy people are in some countries that maybe only get like a couple hours of sunlight a day, but they have these rituals that they do to look forward to as the season changes, because it's going to change whether we want it to or not. So what we're going to be doing is establishing some rituals. So one will be taking care of our skin. So there will be a skincare session.
Oh, yay.
There will be a session partnering with one of my friends who does screen-free dinner parties. So incorporating being in community intentionally, putting our phones down, and getting to know each other. And we'll either do like a recipe exchange or something that encourages warm things when it comes to food to look forward to during this winter season. And then incorporating movement will be the last session. Actually, I don't know what order they'll be in, but stay tuned everybody, because I'm really excited about this. And as much of it will be a healing for me, I hope that it will be for everyone else, and start to build community, because it can be really isolating at this time, and we want to stay in community, not just wait until spring/summer.
Tell me about it.
Come back out.
I know. I've already been telling everybody I'm so in denial about the fact that winter is coming, so I will definitely be there for the hibernation series.
Yay.
Thank you so much again, Ashley. It's been such a gift. Always a gift when you're around. Thank you for sharing with us today. We'll see you next time, guys, on The Heart Next Door.
Thank you. You want to make an appearance on the podcast? You're gonna see Mommy?